I mean, prior to meeting my partner, who we're having our second baby soon, like less than 2 weeks, I was I was addicted to smoking, cannabis, eating fast food, whatever, just being lazy generally. But I managed to, at some point, I just got depressed and I decided to sort my life out, basically. Start to love myself, respect my body a bit more, thought more about what I wanted from the future. And then unfortunately, I met my partner. So we started doing things. We thought organic food was the way to go, vegetables, all that stuff. So about a year and a half into our relationship, I started to get headaches like constantly. At one point, I had like a sensation where just like my neck clicked, and I started to feel the sensation that I was spinning around. I had migraines, and I went to my doctor and I said, "What could this be?" And he said, "It's migraine auras."
Migraine aura, a chemical or visual wave that moves across the visual cortex of your brain. It can cause visual hallucinations. Mayo Clinic.
And then the same situation. I was working. I was kind of walking somewhere. I had to run to get out of the way of traffic, and then I had the neck click. But this time, I thought I had a stroke. So my left side drooped, my arm went limp, my jaw sagged, which are all signs of a stroke. And I was like, I'm only 20, 22, 23 years old, and I'm having a stroke. And so I went to my doctor and I said, I want to request a CT scan because everything I look up on the internet is saying is probably something wrong with your brain. So I went for the CT scan, and at that point in time, they only saw a little hazy patch, and they said, "Oh no, you're fine. It's just migraine auras." And then actually 2 weeks after that, they called me up and said, "You need to come in for an MRI with contrast because we think there might be some sort of mass in your head." So I had the biopsy, and then I was diagnosed in September 2014 with a glioblastoma multiforme, grade 4, highest grade tumor, incurable. And I went through the motions. They said, chemotherapy, radiotherapy. That's the course of action. There's no other treatment options, basically, which I believed at the time. Went home, and then they arranged all the stuff. I thought I was going for a meeting with my oncologist one day. It turns out that I was actually there to have the radiotherapy mask fitted to my face. I had the mask fitted to my face, molded to my face. I went into to lie down on the table, fixed to the table. They lasered me up. And I just felt really, the pang of fear in your guts, like when something's wrong and that you shouldn't do what you're doing. I felt that, and I said, I need to call my oncologist because I'm not sure I want to do this. So I spoke to her and I asked some very pertinent questions. I said, is this going to help me? Is this going to give me a long life? I want longevity. I want to live a very long time. I don't want to just die feeling sick. So I said, what do I need to do? What do you think about the ketogenic diet? She said, I don't think it's that effective. There's no studies suggesting it's going to work for you. And she said, with chemotherapy and radiotherapy, your life expectancy is 12 to 15 months. And that's kind of the estimated, the maximum survival. And I said, well, what about without? And she said, because you're fairly healthy, 6 to 9 months without. And she said, you might become impotent with chemotherapy. You might lose your hair. All these side effects. And I was like, well, my background was homeopathy and vegetarian food and just spirituality and just kind of awareness and stuff. So I just said, I think I'm going to take my chances with a ketogenic diet. I just said that. I didn't confer with any of my family. I just said, right, this is my instinct kicking in. I've got to do something for myself. I've got to live. So I went to the ketogenic diet. I spoke to someone called Patricia Daly. Don't know, you might have heard of her. She's a ketogenic diet advocate. She had some form of a kind of mass behind her eyeball. So she said, try a restricted calorie ketogenic diet. So I was on 2,000 calories a day, restricting my calories, less than 20 grams of carbs a day for about 3 years. And I spoke to Thomas Seyfried, and he said, you want to hit that 1-to-1 ratio of ketones to glucose. I got into ketosis within the first week. I was seeing that 1-to-1 ratio. I was like smashing it. I did the ketogenic diet. So I went for an awake craniotomy, which was a 7-hour operation. The weirdest experience of my life, most likely, because they put you to sleep and then you wake up pinned to a table by a brace. Professor Thomas Seyfried suggested going into the operation in ketosis. He said, tell them you don't want the full dose of steroids because it's it's only going to hurt you in the long run, because you want to be in ketosis. You don't want to have to fatten up and all these things. You want to be fasting. So I was in the recovery room. I managed to stand up on the first day post operation. I said, I'm going to just try it. I need to do it. So I got up and I didn't do too much, but I was like, I've got to get out of here as soon as I can. They offered me the usual food, which was porridge for breakfast, toast, etc., all the carb loaded crap that you can imagine. And I said, no, I can't eat that. So I requested boiled eggs from the cafe, and I said, Becky, my partner, Becky, can you get some butter and we'll just mash it up with the eggs? So I'm getting lots of fat, lots of protein, enough healing goods, and that's all I ate for 7 days, and I was out of hospital. This entire time I've been using the ketogenic diet to try and control my epilepsy, because it was shown to be effective for children. But for me, it's not actually, it's probably doing me a lot of good. I still have grand mal seizures, and I still have focal seizures almost daily, which is quite a problem, and it kind of it keeps me disabled in a sense. I can't run. I can't do exercise as much as I would like to. So I try and push my boundaries every day. But I had a year after this operation. I had the rest dissolved, so there was like 10% left, and it dissolved. And I had a year where they said there's no visible sign of your tumor, which was really nice. But I found that I started to try and eat more food. I thought, it won't bother, it's not going to hurt me. I was still ketogenic. I was just incorporating berries, but I was having too many calories. So I actually put on 2 stone in weight. I was the heaviest I've ever been in my life. Everyone said to me, you're looking really healthy, but I knew I was feeling fat in my body. I was putting out too much fat. I went to the Children with Cancer conference in London in September 2018, where I did a speech just to kind of like inspire hope. And I found out in October following that I had a reoccurrence, which was quite savage. But fortunately, I met someone at that conference. He was like, if you have a reoccurrence, give me a call. His name is Misha Sakharov, and he's a really nice guy. And he helps patients with brain tumors to go carnivore. He basically said, you just quit the ketogenic diet, go carnivore, 0 carbs, moderate fat, protein. We do intermittent fasting as well. And we practice buteyko. And as soon as I started with him, my tumor came back stable after 4 months. And since then, it's been nearly 3 years. I've had stable scan results since, just by being 0 carbs. So like I've maximized my longevity by just cutting out carbohydrates and eating really good quality organic meat. And here I am today, just getting on with life.
Dr. Thomas Seyfried, his research focus, mechanisms by which metabolic therapies manage chronic diseases like epilepsy, neurodegenerative lipid storage diseases, cancer.
I think it was about within the first 4 months, I got a stable scan result. So this was no treatment, nothing. It was an inoperable brain tumor, so they couldn't perform an operation. And I did that for, I think it was 3 years before suddenly like the tumor actually changed in some way or shape. And they said, we can operate on your inoperable tumor. I was like, great. So my ketogenic diet, taking supplements, has actually given me a longer life. And it's made an inoperable tumor operable, which is like a miracle.
Incredible. I mean, if we look at the typical outcome for somebody with GBM, glioblastoma multiforme, it's not years out and, being where you are today. And, it's kind of interesting that, one, despite eating, a healthy, organic, diet years previously, you developed this brain tumor. And then it's interesting to see that the ketogenic diet seemed to help it. And then, by including, some more carbohydrates and fruit back in the diet, it seemed to recur. And you put on, 2 stone for people who don't speak English or speak UK English is 28 pounds, 14 pounds to a stone. And so that's quite a bit of weight gain. I don't know how much you weighed or how thin you might.
I was always about 10 stone. Like
yeah, okay, 140 pounds. So yeah. So
but now I'm
and then,
actually I'm 11 stone, 2.5. So I'm like literally just staying the same weight. I haven't changed weight in the last 3 years.
Yeah, and then so going to a meat-based version with no carbs would seem to slow things back down again and help with the body composition and so on and so forth.
I'm
Are
just
they not
lucky.
curious as to
That's all it
why
is.
it's luck? Are they just going to? Yeah, that's all. That's very scientific. That's just luck. It's like we get our health care from a Las Vegas casino. I mean, come on. What aren't they a little at least bit kind of saying, hey, what's going on?
They do not care one iota. They just think I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky few who somehow survived. I'm like, no, I put all the work in. This is me making myself live longer.
The sick in me doesn't disbelieve it, but I'm just it's incredulous that you're like, what do these people that live longer have in common? If it were a drug, we would be investigating the hell out of that. Oh my gosh, we got to put, but if it's a diet and lifestyle thing, we're like, well, you're just lucky. That to me is, that's just, unfortunate and shocking. And hopefully, by people listening to this, hopefully there's actually physicians out here listening, and maybe some of them will say, hey, maybe it's not luck, maybe there's something to do, maybe we should look into these types of things.
I'm pretty sure it's due to an insulin response or stress response. But most of the time they happen quite sporadically. So I can be washing the dishes and suddenly I'll get the sensation of a seizure coming. But over the course of 7 years, I've managed to gain like a sensitivity to what's happening. So say it's like a sensation, it's like a spike of fear running straight to my brain from like up my spine. It's like I've been spooked. So when I feel that sensation, I just relax my shoulders and I relax my jaw. I just relax. Basically, I go into relaxation. This is something I learned doing potato breathing. Because a lot of people, they don't realize that breathing through the mouth is it's basically hyperventilation. So I'm breathing through my nose. So I'm always kind of like increasing nitric oxide and carbon dioxide by diminishing my breathing. But I find that recently I'm on a new drug called Zebanex, which is helping. But I'm having an EEG to actually diagnose what's happening in my brain. So I'm taking that home for 24 hours. And hopefully I'll get a handle on what is occurring within my brain. But I got sick of just sitting around allowing people to look after me. I was like, I've got to do a bit more, got to gain a bit more stamina and do things that make me uncomfortable. So yeah, a year ago, I would have used that excuse. I would have said, no, I'm not doing the dishes, you do it. But today I'm like, I can do it.